Okay, I'm back and our dough has rested for at least 20 minutes and now we're gonna roll it out. So I use this attachment on my KitchenAid, but if you have a hand crank roller, it's basically the same thing except you're rolling it with one hand. It's nice to do with two people because someone can hold and pass it through and another person can roll it, but with the machine, first we have to get it ready. So as you can see, and it's a really warm day too, so this got really sticky. But that's okay because we just add some flour. So we're not going to roll the whole thing through at once. It would be really long and cumbersome, and you want to be the one kind of in control. So we're just going to do, I just cut this into 4 and then do a little ball and let these guys just hang out until we're ready to put them through. And you just want to keep them covered at the top of your workspace. And so the goal here is you want this to fit the width of your roller so that you have it wide enough. And so you can get a roller and just kind of let it help you. Because this dough is so sticky, I'm going to use a lot of flour, and I always encourage you just to use a lot of flour anyway. It's easier than dealing with it sticking. So don't be shy. You can always dust it off later. I'm starting on level 1, and then I'm going to probably go up to 6 or 7, basically until I can see through it, but it's still substantial enough to hold the filling of the ravioli. So I'm gonna go through, and then I just hold it to try to get the desired width. The width so you can roll it through, fold it over on itself, and then I like to, by maintaining that width, roll it thinner so that it will fit through, because otherwise it kind of like presses through the machine, and you can't always control how then the width is going to be kind of off. So I'm just going to do this a little bit more. I basically have a square here. And then I'm just increasing each time. Increasing I don't even know what you call it, but you're just getting a smaller gap in your roller each time you pass through. And you can get some of flour in it so that it's nice and it's not going to stick to your roller. And this is just stretching it. You want to touch it on the other side. And use the back of your hand to let it drape so you're not poking it with anything. And this is good. You can kind of see through. It's pretty thin. I'm going to put it back on my floured surface here. And so at this point I would roll through all of them and just put these aside and keep them covered. But for our purposes today, I'm just going to do this one. So you want to kind of square it off So we know, let's see, I want you to be able to see. Okay. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our filling, we're gonna fold this over eventually. So you can kind of do that and give yourself a gauge of where the middle is. And then you wanna put your filling closer to the middle, not exactly in the middle, just a little bit off center. So that way when you fold it over, your filling isn't just at the end where you're trying to have a seam and cut. So I have the filling here, and I'm just doing a spoonful. Sometimes it doesn't seem like that much. If you have a pastry bag and you feel comfortable with a pastry bag, you can use that. When I have a lot to do, I'll often just use a pastry bag and kind of go and drop my filling. But in a spoon, you can kind of gauge what you want, roughly the same amount in each one. And don't crowd them, you don't want to try to like squeeze one on the side there. That's not going to actually work, and then it's just going to break. This dough is pretty wet. I probably don't have to wet it, but it's just how I learned to do it, and so I tend to do it this way often. I'm just gonna get my brush in a little bit of water, and I'm just gonna go through the middle basically where my seams are gonna be. And then I'll just fold this guy, carefully fold it over so that the edges are where they're gonna be. Really gentle. This is a very gentle hand. And now I'm gonna go with this part of my hand in between each ravioli to press out the air, and I'm just kind of wiggling to gently press the air out in between those spaces. And then I come back from this side and press it out, and now I'll go back and really press it firmly in to really create that seam. So now I take my my roller. You could just use a knife if that's what you have. And I'm just gonna cut where my edges are. And I'm gonna use my fingertips as a guide, because I don't wanna cut, I wanna make sure I'm cutting over both sheets. I don't wanna cut just on one and not the other. You want a clean seam. So I'm gonna use my fingers as a guide to make sure I'm doing that and to help me cut straight-ish. And then I'm just gonna go right down the middle here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can put these on a sheet pan and stick these in your freezer. I would recommend using semolina flour if you have it, because it's not as sticky, it's kind of granular, and so you can use that as your base. And this is my sheet pan. I'm going to put my finished ravs on there, just kind of pinching the sides to make sure all the air bubbles are out. And this can go in the freezer just like this. It'll take a couple of hours to freeze through, and then you can put them in a Ziploc bag, and you could do this up to several weeks in advance, months in advance, and then you have them ready for your dinner. And so the entire process, can take, I would give yourself at least a couple of hours. If it's your first time, maybe a little bit more, just so you have enough time to do it. And it's a repetitive motion. You'll see you'll get fast at it. And I hope you enjoy it. Okay, bye.